It's getting harder and harder to feed a lot of people with food prices soaring. So a cheaper option is making skewers. And the great thing about skewers is you can put anything you want on them. So here's my top 5 most viewed recipes, starting with my number 5 pick is pork Filipino skewers. These have everything going for them. Taste, colour, the wow factor. And it's no real surprise they made my top 5 list. Now, if this doesn't have you licking your screen, you must be blind. Do you want to learn how to turn this slab of raw pork belly into this delicious Filipino pork skewer? Now, if you're not sliding your moist stick into pork, that should be illegal. Oh, yeah.
Miss Piggy, you look beautiful.
Let's get into it. Today, we're making some Filipino pork skewers. Cooking time for this recipe will be 20 minutes. Or for those of you who love to use my beer timer, you're looking at a 1 beer cook. Cheers. To make this recipe, we'll need some pork belly. So I went down to see Mick out of Gippsland Premium Meats and picked up this 2 kilogram piece of skinless and boneless pork belly. And pork belly is perfect for this recipe as it has a good ratio of meat to fat. And using a large sharp knife, we're just going to cut the pork belly into roughly 3 centimetre wide strips. And then spinning the strips around, we're going to now cut them into 3 centimetre cubes. Something like that. And once all cubed up, place into a plastic container, Ziploc bag, or a bowl. The choices are endless. Now, the choices aren't really endless. Don't go storing your meat in a shoe or a pot plant. Now that would be silly, wouldn't it? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That way I know you're still awake and watching. Filipino cooking is all about the unique flavours. Now there will be a few ingredients you're going to have to hunt down, but it is well worth it in the end. Now just grab a bowl and into it put half a cup of banana ketchup. This is what the bottle looks like. Don't confuse it for normal ketchup, it's not the same thing. 1 cup of Sprite lemonade, 1 cup of soy sauce, half a cup of datu puti vinegar. This is a datu puti vinegar. I have been told if you can't find it, you can use normal distilled white vinegar. 1/4 cup of oyster sauce. 2 tablespoons of chilli paste. And sure, you know what chilli paste looks like, but this is the brand I used. 1 cup of brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of black pepper. And 1 cup of minced garlic. That's correct, 1 cup of minced garlic. If you weren't single, you're gonna be after tonight. And stir this up thoroughly for a couple of minutes until that sugar is fully dissolved. And pour it all over the pork belly. And mix it in until the pork is all covered. Put the lid back on and we're going to put this in the fridge for 6 hours. And don't skimp on this. The pork belly needs those 6 hours to absorb all of that flavour. Also, don't start thinking if 6 hours is good, let's give it 12 hours. If you leave it that long, you'll bloody ruin it. Do as you're told, 6 hours is all it needs. Next up, we need to make an authentic Filipino street food style basting sauce. So just grab a small bowl and into it put half a cup of banana ketchup. Remember this? 1/4 cup of oyster sauce. Like this, 1/4 cup of sesame oil, as this gives an authentic flavour. Give this a good mix up and then pop it aside until we are grilling. Flavour, flavour, flavour. It's not rocket science, but it is science. To make authentic street-styled food, I can't use my superior metal skewers. I have to use these inferior sticks of disappointment that I had to soak in water an hour ago to stop them from burning to a crisp. And after an hour, you should have a moist stick. Smut! And now you can start threading the pork onto the twigs of sadness, making the twigs all roughly the same size. Why? Because that way they cook more evenly and they'll all be finished at the same time. If you share this video, just share it with mates you only like. Today, I'm going to be using my Weber Go Anywhere, or GA as they're known, and I'm also going to be pairing it up with my 100mm riser and my Abachi grill, that I picked up from Rub and Grub over in South Australia, as I want to be cooking over direct heat today. I'll remove the lid because we won't be needing that, and I'll open up the bottom vents to allow as much airflow to our fuel as possible. I'll put the riser in place, and I'll 3/4 fill the chimney starter with lumped charcoal. I'll light up a couple of fire lighters and place the chimney on top of them. And then once it's fully ashed over, we can dump it into the GA. And then using an old pair of tongs, we can spread it out so we get even heat throughout the entire GA. Don't forget to carefully put the grill back in. Oops, wrong grill. And now put the hibachi grill in place and let that warm up for 5 minutes. I'm not sure anyone noticed yet, but I'm in fact not Filipino. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I just want you to know your parents are really disappointed in you. Once the grill's had time to warm up, we can place the skewers directly on the grill. Listen to that sizzle. And once all the skewers are on, we can grab that bowl of basting sauce and start brushing it onto the skewers. And then after a couple of minutes, we can start turning all of the skewers over and give them another baste. And we're just going to keep doing this until they're fully cooked. And how do we know this? By using an instant read thermometer. We need the internal temp to reach a minimum of 71 degrees Celsius. But due to the high fat content, I love to push my pork belly further. And I'm going to take the internal temp closer to 80 degrees Celsius. This is just going to help some of that fat break down a little bit more. And due to the fat content in this pork belly, I'm not worried about it drying out and not staying moist. Smut! Leave me a comment down below if you want to see more street food ideas. Ring-a-ding-ding, the pork skewers look like food bling. I mean, they're done. I mean, seriously, look at that. Nice. I mean, this is the stuff dreams are made of. Well, mine anyway. Now, I'm not waiting. These smell just as good as they look. Taking out the number 4 spot is my chicken shawarma skewers. The taste these bring to the table, they're going to make your taste buds feel like they've gone on a holiday. Haven't gone on a holiday for a while? Well, with this recipe, you're off to the Middle East. Shut up, bird! Either shut up or subscribe to the channel, bird. Seriously, how good does that look? Hi, I'm Schuey, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these chicken shawarma skewers. Pack a bag for your taste buds, they're off to the Middle East. So just sit back, grab a drink or two, and let's get into it. Chicken shawarma is normally cooked on a vertical rotisserie, but I don't have one of them. So I'm going to be using skewers and making mini chicken shawarmas today. Obviously, I'm going to be needing some skewers today, and I'm going to be using these metal ones. If you only have wooden ones, just remember, soak them in water an hour before you need to use them. Now, I do have a horizontal rotisserie, but I figured this was just another good excuse to bring out the Weber GA. I'm using chicken thighs for today's recipe, and as always, the great people out at Gippsland Premium Meats have looked after me. And I do find that thighs have more flavour and tend to stay juicier than breast meat. Now, you just want to cut each thigh into roughly 6 even pieces, and then place them into a Ziploc bag. Is it too early to like this video? I won't judge you if you pre-like it. It's now time for the marinade, and I love to prep everything ahead of time just to make things easier. So grab a bowl, and into it we're gonna put some extra virgin olive oil, some chopped garlic, turmeric, smoked paprika, cumin, ground coriander, cardamom, cayenne pepper, kosher salt, black pepper, lemon zest, and lemon juice. And give this a good mix up, and add this to the diced up chicken pieces. Seal up the bag, and just giving this a good mix up to make sure all the chicken has some of that marinade on it. Now I'm popping this in the fridge overnight. If you can't do it overnight, at least give it a couple of hours. Prep this in the morning, cook it in the afternoon. It's time to make up our skewers. So all we have to do is empty the marinated chicken into a bowl to make things easier. So all you have to do is slide the chicken onto skewers, and obviously making the skewers even. By making the skewers even, they'll cook evenly. It's not rocket science. Stab chicken with a little stick. Today, I'm going to be using my Weber Go Anywhere, or GA as they're known, and I'm going to be pairing it up with my 100ml riser I grabbed from Rub and Grub. That way I can keep the chicken a little higher off the lit charcoal. So I'll 3/4 fill a chimney starter with lumped charcoal. I'll light it up, and once it's fully ashed over, I'll dump that into the GA, and then using a pair of tongs, I'm just going to spread the charcoal out to make sure I get a nice even cook. And making sure the bottom vents are wide open to ensure we get as much airflow through the GA as possible. By keeping the chicken a little higher off the lit fuel, we're less likely to burn it, but we are going to still try and char it up because charring is flavour. It's time to get the chicken skewers on the GA. So just laying the chicken skewers directly over the charcoal, and we're going to give them a few minutes before we start turning them. By cooking the chicken directly over charcoal, as the juices fall down and hit that charcoal, the smoke comes up and that chicken gets a nice hit of that smoky flavour. Now this will create a fair bit of smoke, so don't be alarmed. Now this is a cook we do not want to turn our back on. Chicken needs a lot of turning. We do want a bit of charring on it, we just do not want to burn the chicken. I just suggest you have a beverage or two by your side for this part of the cook. If you didn't know, Schueys BBQ has a Facebook page and Instagram account filled with awesome people just like you. Today, I'm grilling with a direct heat using the GA. And these chicken shawarma skewers are gonna take around 30 minutes to reach a safe eating temp of 74 degrees Celsius. Or for those of you using my beer timer, you're looking at a 1 beer cook. Now normally this is where I'd say, I'm not gonna judge you if you sneak in an extra beer. I know I'm gonna. During the cook, I've been keeping a close eye on the internal temp of the chicken with an instant read thermometer. And it's reading 74 degrees Celsius. So we can get them off the heat, and we're just gonna let them rest for about 5 minutes. While we're here, we might as well hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, hit that bell button as well. That way you'll be notified every time I upload new content. Chicken is such a versatile meat to cook with, and by adding the flavours we did in this recipe, my taste buds are off on a holiday. Trust me, once you try this recipe, you're going to agree with me. It's that good, it should be illegal. As always, cheers for watching. Taking out the number 3 spot is my seafood skewers, or more precisely, calamari. Now, you need to know how to cook calamari perfectly so you get a nice tender bite. And using my technique, a lot of people have now created the perfect calamari on the grill. Grilling squid so tender and tasty. Who could have thought it would have been so easy? Don't forget the lemon juice. I'm Schuey, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to perfectly cook calamari with a zesty lemon marinade that's going to make your taste buds sing. So just sit back, grab a drink or two, and let's get into it. We'll be needing some squid hoods that have been cleaned and washed. Easy enough to prep using a sharp knife. Score one side of them, and then slice into 2.5 centimetre strips. And then just pop these into a Ziploc bag ready for some marinade. You can use a Ziploc bag or a plastic container, whatever floats your boat really. Next up, we can add all of these ingredients into a bowl and stirring them up. Your only herbs and spices! And pour this marinade into the Ziploc bag with the calamari. Next up, we just need to push out all the excess air, then close it up, and then just toss it around to make sure it all gets covered, and we're gonna pop this in the fridge for half an hour. Relax! Relax! The ingredients are all listed in the... I saw your face. Relax! The ingredients are all listed in the description of the video. It is skewering time, and we all know what that means. Throwing these extra large toothpicks away. Superior metal skewers cost practically nothing these days. Plus, they're reusable, saving you money every time you use them. Stab the strips of calamari onto the skewer in a folding pattern and place them aside. Just make sure the skewers are all the same size. That way they'll all cook evenly. Today I'm going to be using my Weber Go Anywhere, or GA as they're known, because I want to be grilling over direct heat. So I'm going to open up the bottom vents to allow as much airflow to that fuel as possible. I'll half fill a chimney starter with lumped charcoal. I'll light it up, and once it's fully ashed over, I'll dump that into the GA. Then grab an old pair of tongs, click them twice, and spread out that charcoal. Pop the grill in place, Now would be a good time to subscribe to my channel. And while you're there, hit that bell button. That bell button will notify you every time I click my tongs twice. The grill is ready and so are the skewers. And we want to work quick when we're grilling with calamari. Cook it too long and it turns to rubber. Don't cook it long enough and it swims away. So we're just going to pop these on the heat and we're going to give them a minute and a half per side. That's a minute and a half. So it's time to flip them. This isn't a cook you can walk away from, so make sure you've got a drink close by. Today I'm cooking with a high direct heat, and these calamari skewers are only going to take 3 minutes to cook. Or for those of you using my beer timer, you're looking at a 1 beer cook. Now 3 minutes may seem like a waste of charcoal, but if you've got more friends, you'll cook more of these up. The skewers are done, so off the heat they come. You just pop them on a platter and just serve with some lemon wedges. Squeezing fresh lemon juice over the calamari gives it a little zing. Trust me, I'm the zing king. Calamari this good should be illegal. As always, cheers for watching. In the number 2 spot, we have my Moroccan lamb skewers. Now, these have that Middle Eastern flavour with a punchy taste that leaves a lasting impression. How good does that look? Perfectly cooked Moroccan lamb skewers. You may as well let your taste buds go on a holiday if you can't go on one. I'm Schuey, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these tasty lamb Moroccan skewers. We may even grill some veggies as well. So just sit back, grab a drink or two and let's get into it. For this recipe we're going to need 1 kilogram of lamb. I'm using backstrap today. As always, I popped into Gippsland Premium Meats out at Berwick and the crew there sorted me out with enough backstrap. And the only prep for the backstrap is to take it out of the packaging and cut them in the middle lengthways and then just cube them up. All that's left to do after that is pop them into a bowl. Now surely you don't need to see me pop them into a bowl, or do you? Onto the seasoning now, and we need to add an array of ingredients to create an authentic Moroccan flavour. So into the same bowl as the lamb, add some olive oil, some chopped parsley, kosher salt and black pepper, smoked paprika, cumin, some ground coriander. It wouldn't be a party without some crushed garlic. And top all that off with some lime juice. Now just get your hands in there and make sure it's all thoroughly mixed up. Now just cover this with cling wrap and we're going to put it in the fridge for at least 4 hours. Check out the description of the video for a full list of ingredients. That's where they're hiding. The lamb has been marinating for 4 hours now, so we can finally make our skewers. I'm using metal skewers, but if you only have wooden skewers, just remember you need to soak them in water for about an hour before you use them, and that's going to prevent them from burning. So just stab the lamb onto the mini jousting sticks and make sure every skewer is even. And by making them the same size, they're going to cook evenly. And place them on a tray until we're ready to grill them. Did you know Schueys BBQ has a Facebook group and an Instagram account? You do now. Earlier, I promised veggies and I meant it. Actually, I didn't promise anything. I'm done. Just kidding, let's get some veggies ready. You'll need some zucchini, red onion, cherry tomatoes and some yellow capsicum. That's bell pepper for our friends over the pond. So the same as the lamb, I've stabbed the veggies onto the skewers, alternating each vegetable. All we need to do now is just brush on a little bit of olive oil and give each one a sprinkle of kosher salt and some black pepper and put aside. By adding the veggies to their own skewers, they become second class to the meat, as they should be. Now obviously that was a joke. Today I'm going to be using my Go Anywhere, or GA as they're known, and I'm also going to be pairing it up with my 100ml riser I grabbed from Rub and Grub. The reason being is it's just going to allow us to keep those skewers a little bit higher off the lit charcoal. So I'll 3/4 fill a chimney starter with lumped charcoal. I'll light it up, and once that's all ashed over, I'll dump it into the GA. And then just using a pair of tongs, I'm just going to even out the lumped charcoal. And you want to make sure the bottom vents are wide open. That way we can get as much oxygen to our charcoal as we can. Now, if you've already liked this video, I just want to give you a shout out and say, cheers. It's time we can finally get the skewers over the lumped charcoal. Now, we don't want these to burn, so no wandering away. Set yourself up with a cold beverage and even have a backup, just so you don't have to move away too far. And just remember, keep turning them about every minute or so. Charring is flavour, burning is bad. Now we're aiming for an internal temp of 60 to 70 degrees internal for these lamb skewers, and that's between medium rare and medium. And how we'll know that is by using an instant read thermometer. And these are looking good, so they're ready to come off and we can rest them under some foil. They smell absolutely incredible. Now, if you don't have a riser, you're just gonna have to turn your skewers a little bit quicker, say around every 30 seconds to prevent burning. Now, while the lamb rests, we can get these veggies on, and it's exactly the same as the lamb skewers, which are gonna turn them about every minute. And once you start to see charring around the 5 to 6 minute mark, they're pretty much ready to come off. It's more of a personal preference on how much charring you want. Now these are ready to come off and we can serve them immediately with the lamb skewers. Now this would be a perfect time to subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot and allows you to brag. When I hit 1 million subscribers, you can say you helped me get there. Today we're cooking with a high direct heat over lump charcoal, and all up our cook's only taking 16 minutes. That's 10 minutes for the lamb skewers to get to that temp anywhere between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius, and just enough to char up our veggies, which took about 6 minutes. Or for those of you who like to use my beer timer, you're looking at a 1 beer cook, unless you count the spare one I told you to have while you're grilling. Now, if you don't want to use a beer timer, don't, but just don't expect other drinks to be as accurate. How good does this look? Perfectly grilled Moroccan lamb and char grilled vegetables. Nothing is burnt, it's all just perfect, and all we've got to do is top it off with a nice squeeze of fresh lime juice, and we are ready to dig in. Oh, this seriously is that good, it should be illegal. Oh, all right, I'll eat some vegetable. Done. As always, cheers for watching. And taking out the crown, all that #1 spot is my street-styled beef skewers, using really simple ingredients and cooked really well. The flavors on these are off the charts. Oh, they're looking good now. How good does that look? Hi, I'm Schuey, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these street-styled beef skewers in your own backyard. So just sit back, grab a drink or two, and let's get into it. Look what I picked up from Gippsland Premium Meats, some skirt steak. I love this cut of beef, and it's going to be perfect for our skewers. Now we do need to prep it first by removing any silver skin and any fat. So once they're cleaned up, we're going to cut them across the grain, and you can see the grain runs down it. Which angle your knife, and we're going to slice them off in slithers. And they're going to do these slithers about 5 mil thick. Now once it's all trimmed up, we just throw that all into a bowl. Pretty simple so far, nearly as simple as liking this video. We're going to make a super tasty marinade for the beef. So into the same bowl as the beef, want to put 1/3 cup of olive oil and 1/3 cup of soy sauce, about 1 teaspoon of fish sauce, 1/4 cup of honey, 4 cloves of crushed garlic, 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of crushed ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So we just need to mix this up really thoroughly, and then we're going to allow it to sit in the fridge and marinate for 2 hours. Now, if you don't have 2 hours to spare, just marinate them for a couple of hours. That's 2 hours marinating in the fridge, so we can now make up our skewers. Easy enough to do. We're just going to fold up our beef like that and pierce it with a skewer. You want to put a few pieces onto each skewer. I'm using metal skewers. If you've only got the wooden ones, soak them in water for an hour to prevent burning. Today, I'm going to be using my Weber Go Anywhere, or GA as they're known, and I'm going to be pairing it up with a 100 mil riser from Rub and Grub. This way I can keep these beef skewers just a little higher off that lit charcoal. So I'll 3/4 fill a chimney starter with lump charcoal, light it up. Once it's all ashed over, we'll dump it in. And just using a pair of old tongs, we just spread it out, make sure it's nice and even. And don't forget to make sure the bottom vents are wide open. By making sure those bottom vents are wide open, we're getting as much oxygen to that charcoal as possible, creating a hotter heat source. Now there's no need to wait, we can get the skewers directly over the charcoal straight away. And eventually this will create a bit of smoke, and that's just due to the oil that we've got in that marinade. Give each side a couple of minutes before turning, and by using the riser, we don't have to turn these skewers as often. Now we do want them to char up, we don't want them to burn. Charring means flavour, burning means you're going to get your food thrown at you when you serve it up to me. How good are they looking? Did you know Schueys BBQ has a Facebook page filled with awesome people just like you? Today I'm cooking with a high direct heat using the GA and a riser. These street style beef skewers are only going to take about 15 minutes to get to that perfect medium of 60 degrees Celsius. Or for those of you using my beer timer, you're looking at a 1 beer cook. Now this would be a perfect time to subscribe to the channel, and while you're there, hit that bell button. That bell button is going to allow you to be notified every time I drink more beer. The skewers are ready, so we can get them off the heat. Just remember, they are going to be hot, so give them a few minutes to cool down. Seriously, the flavour is off the chart. These are that good, they should be illegal.
Can't use that now.
No, I did it. As always, cheers for watching. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what your favourite recipe was.